LeBron James is a billionaire. The other men that he's clearly friends with are multimillionaires. And not a single person in Damon Jones' life stepped up to the plate and said, I'll secure the bond. Professional athletes worth a lot of money who pretended to be his friend weren't friends at all. And this is a guy that thought LeBron James was the best friend he had on the planet, as the story goes, right? My mom and dad have to put their house up that they've lived in for 30 years to secure the bond, and LeBron James didn't? Not only is LeBron a bad teammate, LeBron's a bad friend. With friends like that, you don't need enemies.
Greg Carton talks about LeBron James being a bad friend. Check out what he had to say, and then I'll come back with my comments.
Remember the NBA scandal from a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
Remember Damon Jones, who is one of LeBron James's closest friends?
I remember that.
Who obviously has been snarled in this whole thing. I saw something yesterday, and to be honest, it saddened me. And it showed that you really never know who your friends are. Damon Jones was arraigned yesterday, and he pleaded not guilty to the charges against him, both in regards to trading on private information about LeBron James' held for games to help gamblers win money on prop bets, etc., and on being involved in the illegal or allegedly rigged poker games. There's a video right there of him, I think, entering the court. He did plead not guilty, and now the system grinds to a halt. Now it's going to be at least a year before he actually goes to court. In that time, there'll be plea bargain conversations, et cetera, and we're not done with this story. But here's what's sad to me about it. Because when they talked about Damon Jones prior, and many of you never heard the name Damon Jones, that's all good. He was not a household name. Damon Jones was a bit of a journeyman basketball player, made about $20 million as a player, and then for the last decade or so has been a variety of different coaching staffs, right? So he's a well-thought-of guy, and one of his claims to fame is that he and LeBron James are really, really close to the point.
Yeah, it's to the point. Damon Jones follows LeBron James around from team to team over the last few years. They were teammates back in Cleveland, and ever since then, struck up a good friendship, and Damon Jones has been hip-to-hip with LeBron James, so you would think throughout all this controversy, the scandal, all the allegations, when it comes to inside gambling in the NBA, you would think LeBron James will have his back. He knows Damon Jones better than a lot of people in media and covering this story, but he's nowhere to be found when Damon Jones needs his best friend, LeBron James.
Point that even when he was not an employee of the Lakers, he had carte blanche at the Lakers facility because he's LeBron's guy.
Yeah.
Okay?
Good friends, allegedly.
So when he went in there, he had to post bond so that he could, live his life in the community while waiting for trial. If you can't post bond, then you sit in prison and you wait for your trial date to come up. So here's a guy that's made over $20 million. Sadly, he did file for bankruptcy earlier this year. We know that he's involved in gambling at some level, so maybe he squandered away his fortune. Clearly, it looks like he did because he did file for bankruptcy. But he needed a $200,000 bond. His mom and dad had to put their home up to secure his bond. And I want you to let that sink in, and here's why. His mom and dad are not implicated in this at all. They just love their son.
Yeah, that's crazy. To make 20 M's throughout your career, probably got to factor in taxes as well. So let's just say, minus taxes and everything, Damon Jones made about $12 million. A lot of that money's old money. And you got to think, if he's placing bets allegedly, being the middleman, give me $2,500 allegedly, and I'll let you know what's going on, some inside information. He was taking a little bit or nothing, risking his potential NBA coaching career to make a few dollars. So that just lets you know he squandered away a lot of money, couldn't post bail. People's had to put up their houses and just different collateral type situations just to get their son out of jail. Damon Jones, he fumbled the bag and he's struggling right now.
And they're willing to put their home up, and that's just to guarantee that he shows up to court, that he doesn't flee the country. He's already forfeited his passport. I'm sure Damon Jones is not running to Mexico or something like that. But it saddened me because LeBron James is a billionaire. The other men that he's clearly friends with are multimillionaires. And not a single person in Damon Jones' life stepped up to the plate and said, I'll secure the bond. I'll make sure that you can live in the community and be free up until your trial and a potential jail sentence, not a single person, not a former teammate, not a coach, not LeBron, not Maverick Carter. There's all these guys in Damon Jones' life that are beyond wealthy.
You would think LeBron James, his best friend Damon Jones, is going through a real situation. Let's all assume that LeBron James still supports him from afar. He could at least, put up a couple dollars, help him out, even if it's not directly from LeBron, but maybe in the background, be like, here, go 20 or 30 racks. Best of luck, do your thing. But again, LeBron James shows that he's selfish. He only cares about himself. Only cares about people that can move things for him in his inner circle. So a Maverick Carter, people like that, you need people like a Maverick Carter. Damon Jones, he's expendable. He can be cut out of any circle at any given moment. So again, not to say LeBron James has to support him, but if that's your best friend, you would think he would shoot him a couple dollars and be like, you know what, best of luck and hopefully all is well. But again, LeBron James doesn't care about Damon Jones. Will Damon Jones snitch on Clutch Sports?
That have more money than they could spend in multiple lifetimes, and not a single person came forward and said, I got your bond covered. I don't want you to have to worry about it. I don't want you sitting in jail until your trial, which at a minimum is going to be a year from now, probably longer, okay?
Okay.
And it just once again proved to me that all these guys that are involved in Damon Jones's life, professional athletes worth a lot of money, who pretended to be his friend, weren't friends at all. And this is a guy that thought LeBron James was the best friend he had on the planet, as the story goes, right?
Okay.
And you're telling me that when you're in a bad spot, having already filed bankruptcy, with no money in the bank apparently, and you need $200,000 bond, that sometimes that works with, if you have 10% of that in cash, you can do that. So 20 grand cash.
Yeah.
Or my mom and dad have to put their house up that they've lived in for 30 years to secure the bond, and LeBron James didn't?
Again, that just lets you know they were never really friends, and Damon Jones has to take some accountability. If you were allegedly placing bets and you knew what was going on with LeBron James and his health and other situations, you still got to raise your hand and be like, you know what, I did wrong too. But if Damon Jones let LeBron know, like, that wasn't the case, or who knows, maybe LeBron James believes him, but he can't really show that support in the media. So LeBron James, he's kind of caught in the middle. So I don't expect him to voice his opinion with Damon Jones just because he got brought into the mix. So I'm not really calling out LeBron James like that. But again, if your good friend is struggling, help him out. It ain't got to be directly from you. I'm sure they got a lot of people within their inner circle. LeBron James or his peoples could, pass some money along to get to Damon Jones and his family during this tough situation. But again, Damon Jones messed up, and LeBron James was never your friend.
And Maverick Carter didn't? And other guys that he's friendly with for sure, who are worth millions and millions and millions of dollars, and not a single dude put up 20 grand so that he wouldn't have to sit in jail? Not only is LeBron a bad teammate, LeBron's a bad friend. With friends like that, you don't need enemies. Not a single dude stepped up.
So wait a minute. So if you get
He knows
in trouble,
guys with generational wealth,
business.
and all he needed was 20 grand to stay out of jail. And no one said, I got the 20K? That's crazy.
is it crazy though?
Crazy.
It's not crazy.
Crazy.
Because if he
Yeah, I think it's crazy, but at the same time, LeBron James is going to be like, you know what? I can't go out there and be like, I rock with Damon Jones just because his name was brought into the mix. But you got to understand, dealing with a situation like this, if Damon Jones is broke, doesn't have really any type of legal fee type of money, you got your parents had to put up the house for collateral, he could eventually be a snitch. So that's something LeBron James needs to be on the lookout for. Does Damon Jones have a lot of information that they don't want out there? So if you're LeBron James, Maverick Carter, Clutch, you may want to reach out to Damon Jones, see how he's doing, because if the feds come knocking at his door looking for a plea deal, I think he'll take it, but he may bring people down with him in the process.
pays the bail, you're now ripping him and talking about how he's implicated.
No,
he can't win in that case. LeBron
no.
can't win in that case if
I
he plays
would
a guy's
respect
bail.
the fact,
You wouldn't.
and I've lived it. I've walked in his shoes.
Yeah, David
I
Jones'
would
shoes,
respect
sure.
the fact that a friend is a friend.
I don't believe that.
And has loyalty and is there at your lowest moments in life. And Damon Jones learned a valuable lesson yesterday. All these guys that he thought were his buddies, not a single one of them gives a rat's ass if he rots in jail for the rest of his life. Shame on all of you who used to call Damon Jones a friend. You all suck.
Yeah, at the end of the day, man, Damon Jones, you did this to yourself. And you got to understand, when you put yourself in a legal situation like this, same people ain't going to be rocking with you, especially a Clutch Sports or LeBron, multi-billionaire, somebody with a huge presence that really can't be putting himself out there because he has a lot to lose. But again, if you're LeBron, you don't want Damon Jones to flip. You don't want him to snitch. So whatever you got to do to try to, shut him up, because if he knows this much about LeBron James, he was around him for many years. There's a lot of stuff, in the inner circles of Clutch and their friendship that he doesn't really want to be put out there. So LeBron James better be a better friend to Damon Jones, or it could come back to bite you.